I'm very honored to be a next level coach, and I am very honored to introduce our speaker today. I've known this man going on 15 years now, and Jeff, you are an absolute class act. I thank you for everything you've done for my career and for many, many home buyers here in Washington. Jeff Smart is the incoming president of the Association of Realtors here in Washington for 2024. He is the owner of HomeSmart Elite Brokers here in Washington with over 100 agents. And later on, Jeff's going to explain how he probably throws the nastiest snowball that you've ever seen. I hope we get to hear that story later on. Guys, this is our speaker. I'm very honored to introduce my dear friend, Jeff Smart.
Well, now you put me on the spot to tell that story, Jonas. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I can't see everybody that's out there, but it's a pleasure, absolute pleasure to be here. So yeah, I've known Jonas for quite some time, and yeah, I'll tell the snowball story in a little bit. I am Jeff Smart. I am based out of Washington State. And before all of you think Seattle, that is incorrect. Washington does have two sides to the state. There's a very large mountain range in the middle called the Cascades that kind of blocks all that rain and keeps it in Seattle where we want it to stay. I'm on the sunny side of the state, actually in the southeast portion of the state. So we have plenty of sunshine, plenty of warm weather. And it's absolutely a paradise to me. I was born and raised in this area, and this is where I call home. And this is where my wife and I have raised our children and enjoy life. And I'm having a blast with what I'm doing. I've been a realtor, a broker, and an owner for about 25 years. For those of you outside the state of Washington, a number of years ago, we changed the licensing here in this state where every realtor became a broker automatically. And then what used to be the associate broker or a broker before is now a managing broker and or a designated broker. And it just depends on your position in the company. So I am the designated broker of two real estate brokerages. One is HomeSmart Elite Brokers that covers all of Eastern Washington. And the other one is Smart Realtors, which my father started in 1968, which is an independent brokerage that I still continue to run to this day. You got to keep dad's memory alive. So that's kind of what I do. I am a second generation realtor, and I've been licensed for about 25 years, but my experience in real estate goes way back when I was working with my dad, and when I was 10 years old, and back in those days, I guess there wasn't too much about child labor, I wrote earnest money agreements for my father in the front room of his office building. So people would come in, and he was representing a very large builder in the area. And so people would line up to write contracts and buy these houses because it was a big boom. And I'm not going to say when it was, because then you'll figure out how old I am. But I would write the earnest money agreements and have them all prepped for my dad. So when each person went in, they'd take the earnest money agreement with them. Earnest money agreement is what became today's purchase and sale agreement. I remember being asked if I ever wanted to take over my dad's brokerage when I was 10 years old. And I said, heck no, not at all. I don't want to do this. You kicking and screaming, I will not do this. And so I didn't. I went off and got some degrees from Washington State University. Go Cougs. I know Jonas likes that. So I got my degrees and went into information technology and other areas of communication, broadcasting, satellite broadcasting of music all around the world. So I've had a couple careers, and then the .com industry kind of failed and ended up going into real estate. And like I said, I wasn't going to do. I went into real estate, and then my dad got sick, and so I decided to take over his brokerage and keep it running. And so he passed, and then I kept the brokerage running. It was doing only property management at the time, so I opened it back up for sales. And quickly, people started showing up, and I've always tried to offer a good compensation, a very good compensation to the agents, because the agents are working hard for the money they deserve to keep it. So my brokerage has a flat fee transaction model now, so that gives us a little bit of money to keep the brokerage running, but gives the majority of the compensation to the realtors that earned it. So I've had 3 careers, and I've enjoyed all of them. And over the last 16 years, I've been a designated broker, like I said, and I've also added on to that a coaching side for not just real estate, so real estate broker coaching, but also business coach. There's a lot of other businesses outside of real estate that need help in building their businesses, knowing which way to go, how to service the client, and make themselves a service to the community, and be able to provide for themselves and their community. So I do a lot of that as well. I'm also a graduate of the National Association of Realtors Leadership Academy. That was last year. Each year they pick about 20 people from around the United States that they believe have leadership quality and are able to take these courses and work together on providing some sort of programs for the National Association of Realtor. But it was a great honor to be part of that, and I graduated with that last year. And like Jonas said, I'm the next year's president for Washington Realtors, and I also work pretty closely with the National Association of Realtors as on their major investor council, raising funds for the Realtor Political Action Committee. So I'm fairly involved in that. Fun fact: Jonas always likes fun facts, and I don't know if he knows this one. I guess I could say I had 4 careers, but one of my careers only lasted a day. I worked for the FBI for one day, and it was the most exhilarating day I've ever been involved in. And it was while I was working in the music business, and I had the distinct pleasure of going on an FBI raid of a business. So that was a lot of fun, and I'll always remember being able to work for the FBI for one day, and I'll call that one of my careers. During this, if there are any questions, please interrupt. Jonas knows this, that just interrupt me if you have any questions about anything. I don't mind that. Let's not hold them until the end. Let's deal with questions as they come up, and I'm happy to do that. I can stop with what I'm saying at any time, and we can just keep going. So I promised Jonas I'd go over a little bit of national stuff, because this is a nationwide audience, and I thought we'd talk about some bad news. That's always fun. Let's talk about bad news. Bad news is home sales are down, and we're all feeling that through all 50 states. There's lack of inventory everywhere, although inventory tends to be coming back up, but lack of sales are happening, and there's a multitude of issues there that could be causing it. Interest rates, buyers' confidence levels being down. So a lot of things lead to this. Just hesitation for the future happens a lot. So home sales are down. Commercial real estate transactions are down as well. So we've seen property prices for commercial real estate drop. I know in Washington State, home prices have dropped over 7.5% in the last year. So I think we're all seeing this happen, and we're all feeling the pain from it. And it's going to take a couple things to get out of this mess. And hopefully, I have some more information coming up that here soon, and what we'll talk about that may show a silver lining, that maybe we can get out of this fairly soon. Community banks are in a mess, especially from commercial real estate loans and their exposure on those loans. So they're panicked as well. We have an economic slowdown. Federal debt is rising, interest rates are skyrocketing, and home prices, even though across the board, across the United States, they are tending to be softening and dropping a little bit, they're still pretty high, because we had that explosive growth through COVID, yet now the pricings have gone up, price of houses have gone up, and so it's a little bit tougher for buyers to get into the market. Finding truly affordable homes is tough. So since COVID, since 2020, housing prices are up 22 to 60% across the country. In Washington State, our housing prices went up 38%. I've got a few other states here too. North Dakota went up 21%. Arizona is up 52%. This is all in the last 3 years. West Virginia is up 51%. Texas, 43%. California is up 33%. And even Maine, even little old Maine, is up over 40%. Now, to add to that, we have rent going up. Rent over the last year is up 8%. So it's harder to find affordable housing because all these prices are gone up. Other things that are affecting us as well, that affects all the consumers, food costs. Food costs are up 6% since last year. Electricity costs are up 5.5%. Your new car that you want to buy is up 4%. Clothing is up 3% even. And car insurance, wow, car insurance up 17%. Bright spot though, airfare is coming down. So airfare is coming down almost 10%. It's too bad no one has the extra cash to travel due to all the other items going up. So what we have here is a perfect storm. Y'all remember the movie Perfect Storm? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. The perfect storm for realtors and lenders. You've got all these things happening, and it's affecting everybody, and it's hurting our entire industry, in the real estate industry and the finance industry. So, Jeff, you're all thinking, why is it all doom and gloom? Well, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some good things happening, and there are some good things coming around. Newly constructed home sales are back to pre-COVID levels, which if we rewind the deck back to 2019, 2018, we're at that level of new home sales. It's just we have more buyers, so new homes are selling a lot faster, and new homes are selling at a little higher rate too. But the actual new construction home sales are back to that level, which is promising. Inventory of existing homes are still low. But new homes, so new construction is on the rise. New construction, so the builders are doing well if they can find affordable land to build on. There is a gentleman I call my crystal ball. I don't know if you follow him, if you know about him. He's NAR's chief economist, Dr. Lawrence Yun, Y-U-N. If you have an opportunity to follow National Association of Realtors on Facebook or on Instagram, a lot of times they will put up information from Dr. Yun to try and explain what's happening in the markets. And he looks at things at a national level, and then you can take some of that and apply it to your local community. So Dr. Yun, just recently, I was at a conference in Chicago, and he was making a prediction, and he's usually pretty good on his predictions. He was predicting the 30-year fixed rate to come down to near 6% by early spring. That's great news. We would like it earlier than that, but it'll probably happen around then. And I think one of the reasons for that happening is we're going into an election cycle. And as everyone, if you've been watching it, every time that there is a presidential election cycle, the party in power, whoever it is, does the same thing. They try and make themselves look great. They try and make themselves look like they are the person that you need to reelect. And their party needs to be reelected into all their seats, because they are going to make your life easier. They're going to bring down inflation. They're going to bring down interest rates, even if it's artificial. They will do that. That's what happens every time. And so I think we're going to see that 6%. I think we could probably even see in the mid fives sometime in spring, which, my gosh, if that happens, the pent-up buyer reaction is going to be huge. It'll be just like we saw a few years ago through COVID, with the explosion of buyers and pricing going up again, which is what will probably happen. But we're going to see a lot of that. Lenders, you're going to probably see a lot of refis happening. So be prepared for that. Keep an eye on those. And if you can, follow Dr. Yun. He's also talking about rents to calm down. So hopefully they are not going to continue to skyrocket like they are.
Jeff, the first question for you is, if it does explode like you think it is, what are we going to do with affordable housing? Because the house prices are just going to continue to go up, which means it's going to be harder and harder for the first-time home buyers to get in. Are
Yeah.
you guys focusing on that, or are you guys looking at that problem?
Um, at the state level, we're looking at that right now in Washington State. As far as nationally, I'm not seeing that. It's probably going to be something that's being put on the states. You know, they're the big driver in pricing is the dirt that's underneath the home. So if you're talking about single family homes, the underneath all is the land, is what NAR says. So if the price of land is high, the price of the house will be high. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter about construction material, because a 2x4 is a 2x4. It costs X dollars at Home Depot in one city in the same amount, or maybe a dollar or so difference. It's a minor difference. The big difference is land. So when you have lots that are going up from, if you buy a standard building lot at $150,000 or $300,000, that's what's driving the price of your house. In Washington State, we've got some artificial boundaries called the growth management areas around every city that dictate that within that artificial boundary, the cities can divide up the developments how they want to, whether they need higher density here, medium density there, low density over here. But outside of those boundaries, you're not getting city services, city water, city sewer. So you got to be on wells and septic, and the lot sizes are 5, 10, 20 acre size lots. You can't get them any smaller than that. So as you can see, if you have your supply that's in this circle around a city, and the lots are becoming scarcer and scarcer because you're running out of room, the value on the land goes through the roof. I mean, we're seeing that in Washington right now. So the cost of the home is exponential to that. So that's what we're seeing. So I think you're going to see a lot of states having to handle how they're spreading infrastructure from the cities in order to go further out to get cheaper land for these builders to build on, so that we can bring housing pricing down, but it's going to be further out from city center. So buyers are going to have to get used to driving a little bit further. We live in Eastern Washington. We're a little spoiled. We don't have real traffic issues. So a 30-mile commute is 30 minutes around here. So, I mean, in the Seattle market, 30-mile commute is 3 hours. So you got to weigh your commute to your price of your home. Luckily, with more people working from home, that's not going to be as big of an issue as, if they only have to go into the office once a week or twice a month or whatever it is. It's going to be a lot nicer for them because they can find an affordable home 50 miles away from city center and then be able to commute in when they have to. So I think you're going to see this, the Fed rely on the states to fix the affordable housing problem. It's not going to be fixed at a national level. So one of the things recently coming out from Dr. Yoon, this was probably about a week ago. And I've got it here on my screen. I'm going to read it to you. This is very interesting. What he has to say is the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to contain consumer price inflation, which was rising at about 9% in the summer of last year. We all were feeling it. The latest consumer price inflation in August was 3.7, which is still not at the level that the Feds want at 2%, and is slightly up from July from 3.3. So inflation is being pushed down, which is good. It's just hurting in other areas. However, the trend line indicates falling inflation, especially if considering the impending sharp deceleration in overall shelter costs, being rent. Rent increased 7.3% from a year ago in August nationwide, but the monthly gain was the slowest in 2 years at 0.2%, or a total annualized rate of 3.5%. Private sector apartment rent data is implying even slower gains. This means that a heavyweight component of the overall inflation will be much calmer in upcoming months, so it's very promising. Inflation will be one main determining factor in upcoming monetary policy decisions. Overdoing the rate hikes, considering that inflation is likely to calm down, which it is, will unnecessarily damage the economy. So what he's advising is that the Fed stops raising the rates, which I think we can all agree with would be nice. But he sees that coming up. But it's not over till it's over. Everybody talks about more rate hikes coming up, which is probably going to happen because I believe that the federal government wants to see inflation at 2%. And so they believe that raising interest rates will calm that and bring that down to 2%. And then they can start bringing down the interest rates. So hopefully this happens quickly, because I know there are a lot of realtors and there are a lot of lenders that are hurting because they can't get people into houses. And there's a lot of buyers that are sitting around in mom and dad's basement waiting so that they can afford a home. All right. So changing topics a little bit. I'm not one for recommending books. As anybody that knows me really well, I'm not a big reader. I seldom have time to read. But I'm going to mention a couple of books today I think you should take a look at. Stephen Covey. Now, and this isn't the regular Stephen Covey. This is his son. He's coming out with a book on his own. He's got a book called The Speed of Trust. And it's the one thing that changes everything is the name of the book, The Speed of Trust, the one thing that changes everything. It was published about 12 years ago, and it really applies to today's issues. The book addresses several themes, including the value of trust, the nature of trust, and the restorability of trust. You can see where we're in an atmosphere right now where we're not trusting what's happening. You have to trust that what you are doing is helping others and is essentially the trust of yourself. You've got to have self-confidence to make it in this business, whether you're in lending or real estate or in any other business that I talk to. You've got to have self-confidence to make it. In order to move forward, you have to trust that you can do it. And you have to trust others. You have to trust buyers. You have to trust sellers. You have to trust lenders. You have to trust realtors, title companies, escrow companies, lawyers, even for those lawyer states. We're in a title state. So if you're in a lawyer state, you've got to trust the lawyers are going to get stuff done. Anyone that you're working with, you have to trust. And they have to need to see you trust yourself in order to get the job done. We all know that the busy person gets asked to do more. I mean, my phone rings off the hook. If you could see my phone, it's blinking from all the text messages I'm getting. You need to be busy to get busy in order to see more business coming your way. And trusting yourself is key to this. The self-confident person will always be the most trusted individual in the room. These are all important pieces of success that we're going to highlight here in just a minute. The other book that I really like, and I think it applies in every situation, is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I talk to a lot of people about this one. I give this book out all the time. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I've got one up on my shelf there, but I can't read the author's name. I keep forgetting the author's name. But Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's my most endorsed book. The central theme of this that you need to get out of is to do something to better yourself, your family, your community, and everything else. Its overriding thought is one question: will you die? So if you need to build your business and you need to go talk to more people to get more business, but you don't want to, why? Will you die if you talk to them? No. So feel the fear, understand what you're afraid of, and then do it. If you're going to die, don't do it. If you feel the fear of jumping out of an airplane with maybe a parachute, or it might be a suitcase, don't do it because you might die. But if it's talking to people, it's making the phone calls, it's sending the emails, asking for business, closing on that client to see if they want to buy this house or take that loan, do it. You're not going to die. The worst thing you're going to hear is no. So feel the fear, do it anyway. It's a great book, very short read. I like short reads. So that is what we're in this market to do right now. This is what has caused what we need to do to get out of this market in order to survive. And like I said, like Jonas was saying before, and how the marketing material was, that I want to talk to you about how to finish the year strong. How to finish the year strong and how to make yourself successful in 2 hours. First thing we're going to talk about is how to finish the year strong. So to finish the year strong is you've got to do things. You've got to have self-confidence. You got to trust yourself and trust the people that you're working with. How to finish the year strong is also you've got to feel the fear. Feel the fear by making those phone calls. Feel the fear by working with your sphere of influence. Feel the fear by writing those emails, asking for help. It's okay to ask for help. I tell people all the time, if you want to build your business, you need to communicate to people, telling them what you need. Hey, Joe, I'd like to talk to you about helping me build my business. And especially if they're friends of yours, past clients of yours, they're going to answer the call. They're going to answer the email. They're going to say, well, how can I help you? Because it's not, you're not asking them for money. At least I hope you're not asking for money. You're asking them to talk about you, to bring you business. They know people that are looking for a loan. They knew people that are looking for a house. You've got to work that angle. This is old school stuff. This is stuff we used to do 10 years ago. If you've been in the business less than that, you may not have had to do these things. You may got in the business and immediately started getting phone calls and started writing loans and writing deals. But now it's harder time. It's time to knuckle down. It's time to call people. Use that fancy cell phone that you've got and make some phone calls. Don't rely always on text and emails. Make the phone call. Talk to somebody. Meet them for a coffee or something like that. You've got to build your business the old school way, and that is talking to everybody, because everybody in your life can be a referral source, can be a way of building business. Your aunt in Miami, your uncle in Bismarck, North Dakota, your hairdresser, your dry cleaner. Dry cleaners actually are a great source of business because they know who's moving. So do hairdressers. They know when people are moving and what they need, because everybody tells their hairdresser and they tell their dry cleaner everything that's going on in their life. So make friends with these kind of people. Talk to these people. Talk to everybody that can hopefully help you build your business, and tell them that's what you're doing. Say, hey, you know what? I'm here to help. If you know anybody that's wanting to buy or sell or get a loan or something like that, send them to me. I'm trying to build my business. It's tough out there right now. They will understand. They all know what the market is. They all know that food is costing a lot. They all know that gas prices are up. They will help, because they may turn to you and say, hey, great, I'm going to help you. Can you help me? I write life insurance. Can you help send some people to me to get life insurance? And you work with people like this. And this creates a referral source, and it's something that's going to build your business, and it's something that's going to take you through the end of the year. You've got to work harder, and you've got to work smarter. One of the first things you got to do as well is find your why. Why do you want to keep doing this? Why am I doing this now when this market is crazy? I'm not making any money. Why am I still doing this? Well, ask yourself why you want to do this. What gets you out of bed every day and gets you to that office or to your desk in your home office to do this same thing? Why is that? You used to have a why. That's why you kind of got into it. So re-examine why you're doing this. If you have trouble figuring out or finding out your why, you need to evaluate whether you stay in the business. It's that simple. I don't mean to be harsh about it, but if you can't figure out why you're doing it, then why are you doing it? I always say, if you're not having fun, find something else to do. I have fun in real estate. I have fun what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep doing it. Okay. My why is I get to help people every day. I get to meet new people every day. You know, I'm a designated broker of a couple offices, but I sell still. I still do 50 to 60 transactions a year. And those are just personal volume, because I like getting out there and talking to people. I like talking to my sphere of influence and getting referrals from them across the country. It's great fun. And I have so much enjoyment from helping people get into houses. It's not about the money. Money always comes, but I found that why. That charges me up. You need to set goals to get through this end of this year. Obtainable goals. I always have people come to me and say, okay, let's set some goals. And so I sit down with them and we go through goal setting routine about, well, how much money do you want to make? Because a lot of people, it's all about money. So I always ask that question. Is it about the money, or is it about transaction volume, or is it about meeting more people? And then we set goals. We set obtainable goals. Can you meet 2 people a day? Can you meet 1 person a day? Can you meet 3 people a week? You don't put these big hairy goals out there that I'm going to sell 27 houses this next week. No, you're not. No, you're not. If you do, good job. You probably don't need to set the goals. But you need to set simple, obtainable goals. My wife would probably laugh at me about this one, because she always does. I set very attainable goals with my health app on my phone, so that it'll come up and tell me, hey, I'll walk from the bedroom to the kitchen and then outside, and it says, hey, you've reached your first move goal for the day. I set very low obtainable goals. I can close those circles every day, even though I sit behind a desk most of the day. So set attainable goals. Set goals that will allow you to meet your budget. Oh my gosh, budget. You need a budget. So you're going to make it through the end of the year. What does it cost you on a monthly level to live? And I'm not talking about how to afford the very expensive car that you bought when you were making the last couple of commission checks. You may have to sell that car because it's going to be a little while before the market gets really going again. So you've got a budget. What is it going to cost you to live on in order to make those goals? If your goals include funds for vacation and travel and a lot of dinners out, you might have reset that budget. Because in this time, till the market really turns around, you have to tighten your belt. You don't need to go out to dinner as much. You don't need to take as many vacations. And if you can afford it, great, more power to you. But for those of you that are having trouble, you need to budget. What's it cost? What's my mortgage? What's my car insurance like? What's this like? Maybe I don't drive into the office every day. Maybe I work from home for a few days. So, and use things that don't cost you as much: email, text, phone. Those don't cost you as much. So you can do that a lot. And we're going to get to that here in a second. So you're going to get business, like you're going to set your goals, you're going to set your budget to meet those goals, and you're going to work like you used to. Or in this case, we're going to work like it's 2010, because that's kind of where we're at. We're coming out of a recession, but things are still a problem. So you're going to work your sphere of influence, your SOI. You're going to communicate to all your friends and family and past coworkers, past clients. You're going to let them know you're all still here. Hopefully you do that normally, and which would be great. I do know that the majority of realtors and lenders in this country don't follow up with past clients. If you do follow up with them, you can take a nap for a minute. But if you don't follow up with them, if you do follow up with them, take a nap. If you don't follow up to them, listen for a second. What you need to do is you need to reach out. You need to ask for help. You need to tell them you're still in business and you're doing great. You're going to smile through the pain, and you're going to ask them, hey, how's your house? What's going on with your family? All this other stuff. Create them into the referral source that they can be. And so, I'm sorry, there's somebody just walked to the office, so I got distracted there for a second. So you're going to use them as your referral source. You're going to fire them up to help you rebuild your business if need be, but also you're going to let them know you're still in business. Because I can say that a lot of your past clients might be new clients, and you can let them know that you're still there, and they'll say, you know what, I was thinking about selling my house, or you know what, I was thinking about refinancing my rate. Where's rates at? So you can talk to them about all this kind of stuff. Reach out to your clients. This is very, very important. Okay. So those of you that took the nap during that little bit, wake up again. We're going to work on your business. Okay. Here is how I have this mantra I tell everybody: 2 hours a day to be successful. 2 hours per day, 5 days a week, and you will be successful. You need to spend 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'll give you a weekend. I wouldn't say Saturday and Sunday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. You got to reset your schedule, but 2 hours a day on minimum during working hours, noon to 2, 10 to 2, 10 to 12, 2 to 4, something like that. During working hours when people are active. No distractions. Get into a room that's quiet, or your office or whatnot, and you have got to focus. No interruptions, no distractions during working hours, 2 hours minimum per day. What you're going to do is you're going to work your list. You're going to work your clients. You're going to work your buyers, your sellers, your referral sources, your friends, your family. You're going to be reaching out to them for a very fast-paced 2 hours. This is what it will take. You will make social media posts. You will send emails. You'll make calls, obviously, like that. You're going to massage your CRM. If you don't have a CRM, if you don't know what a CRM, get one. Hopefully, maybe your brokerage or your lending institution provides a CRM for you, but if they don't, you can get them for $20 a month, some place to keep all your clients, because you've got to keep notes on everybody that you're reaching out to. Have a routine in this. So when you reach out to somebody or you make a social media post, you document what you've done. I called Jim and Carol Anderson at 8 a.m. in the morning. We talked about their current home, their dog's birthday, and their daughter who's now 21 and getting married. Maybe she needs a house. Put that in your notes, because you don't want to over abuse people with your reach out. And then you will work your way around back to them again. You need to work your way through everyone you know. This is how you're going to become successful. This is how you're going to make it through the end of the year. You're going to spend 2 hours a day. After those 2 hours, if you want to keep going, great. But if you only 2 hours, that's fine. But 2 hours per day, highly focused, very energized on exactly what you're doing. You're going to build your business. You're going to be doing everything you can for that 2 hours. And then you're going to take a break. And if you want to go back to it, great. 4 hours makes you even more successful. 8, 10 hours. You get to a point where you work a little too much, but you're going to become busy. And that is the best thing to do, is that 2 hours is going to make you busy. So people will see that you're busy. Everybody loves a busy person. Everybody comes to a busy person. So that's what that 2 hours will do for you. So if you can spend that 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, give you a weekend, you will become successful. Now, how do you do this? How do you set the time aside? You know, in real estate, you've always heard of location, location, location. So in becoming successful, it's calendar, calendar, calendar. You have a calendar on your phone. Everybody does. I'm assuming I use an iPhone, but I'm assuming the other side, the non-iPhones, Samsungs or whatever they are, Androids, they must have a calendar too. Use your calendar. Block your time. Block your time every day. Same time every day. Do the same thing every day. That will get you into a routine. After 21 days, that routine will become just automatic, and it will propel you forward, and it will make you more successful than you've ever been. So what are some tips and tricks that we can do for the end of this year, in that 2 hours that you're going to spend per day, 5 days a week? Sellers are staying in their homes longer than ever right now, much more than they did in pre-COVID. They are now at about 13 years that they're in their home before they sell. So you need to figure out ways to market to them. You need to market yourself to your clients that if you were in the business 13 years ago, great. Market to those clients heavily, because after 13 years, from 2010, they're ready to move. This is a national average. If you need to find people, just like, and all the old school people in the room are going to go, yeah, we know this one, Jeff. Work with your title companies. Find those homes in those neighborhoods that have owner-occupied people in the homes, which is found by having the same address as the same tax ID mailing address. That means that the owner is there. If the tax ID is the tax notices go to a different address, it's a rental. So, and don't mark, you can market to it, but market as a rental. So try and get the renter to get out and buy a house. But if you have an owner-occupied home and you have the title company say anybody that purchased up to 13 years ago, those are the people you market to. You send old school postcards, door knocking. I stay away from trying to phone calls, because we have the can spam acts and all that kind of stuff, the do not call lists. So door knocking, postcards, simple letters. Write a letter. Okay. If you write a letter and it gets you a listing, great. That's the best spent stamp you could ever buy. So do your title search, do your MLS search, search in the MLS for areas that houses that last they sold was 12, 13, 14 years ago. Those ones are ripe for marketing, because those are the ones that are probably going to be selling. So old school is where the new school is. You're going to send flyers, you send postcards, you can do all of this within that 2 hour window. social media posts. You on a lot of social media. I mean, I'm not a social media expert by any sorts of means, but I know people that are, and I ask them lots of questions. You can target advertising with Google and with Facebook and with all the others for certain areas, and you can market to those people in those areas that meet this qualification. So look into that, because targeted versus the shotgun approach kind of works sometimes, but sometimes it's better to use the direct method. So if you can get information to people that have been in their homes for a long time like that, that's the best thing to do. So that is, and then you can convert them, or if they don't know anybody. And here's the best part about it all: if you contact somebody, or they contact you, let's say you send a letter and they call you back and they say, well, I'm not really interested in selling now. It's like, okay, that's great. You have my contact information, but always end with this one. But do you know anybody that's going to sell or buy? The Buffiniites in the room are probably, yep, we all know that. Buffini has been in business for a long time, and that's what it's all about. It's all about referrals. Asking everybody if they know anybody looking to buy or sell or refi their loan or something like that, asking for that referral. That's one of the big things to do. And you got to get over the fear of asking for that, because you're not going to die. So, Jonas, I'm kind of at the end of my notes. I'm wondering, are there any other questions out there?
Guys, are there any questions on the national, as far as the national realtors, statewide, or any questions y'all could think of? Please put them in the chat screen, or feel free just to take yourself off of mute.
Author Susan Jeffers. Yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway. Thank you. It's a great book. It's a quick read, and it has changed my life. I follow that all the time. It's the one thing I think about whenever I'm in any situation.
Jeff, we got a question. How do you stay on track with your schedule, and how do you avoid distractions with as many things as you have coming at you?
Well, like I said,
Jeff, your realtors are all laughing in the room on this question.
Yeah, I know they are. I know. I want a T-shirt that says, "Got a minute?" I'm asked that a lot. Got a minute? It's all about calendaring. I know what I have to do at a certain time in the day, and so if my door is closed in my office, and the door's closed, and I turn the shades on my windows so nobody knows I'm here at that point, I can get a lot of stuff done. And I work fairly late at night too. So I work all day. I'm here for my agents. I'm here for my clients and my lender partners. And then the evening, I tend to work a lot with clients, and I do a lot of my social media stuff. I do a lot of my emailing, and not as much texting in the evenings, because I'll be up until midnight, 1 a.m. trying to keep up on everything. So I used to spend 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now I'm more like 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you got to increase your fishbowl a little bit in order to cover everything you got to do. And how do I avoid distractions? That was your big question. Is I have to be honest with the distraction that comes in. So just like you want to be honest with your clients out there that say, hey, I need help building my business. If someone's going to distract you, you have to say, hold on a second. I can't deal with this right now. Can I call you back? Can I find you in a little bit? And just be openly honest. I'm working on something right now. I can't be distracted. I will get back to you. And everybody understands that. And if they don't understand it, then I don't know what to do, because I'm going to be honest with them.
Jeff, another question. Do you have any scripts or any go-tos when you make your phone calls?
Not really. A lot of my phone calls are to people I know, because those are the best phone calls to make. Because somebody that's in your phone book, in your phone list, it's a warm call. It's like, hey, how you doing? How's so-and-so? How's so-and-so? And hopefully I've got some notes on everybody. Dog named Ruffy. A puppy named Ruffy. How's Ruffy? Hopefully you don't get the answer, well, Ruffy got ran over. You don't want that answer. But I've had that answer. And that's a tough one. And so then you just have to switch and say, oh my gosh, what happened? Oh, I feel so bad. I mean, you have to empathize with the client that they've lost their puppy. But I tend to just wing it with everybody. And I think that's the best way to do it. Scripts sound canned. And we've all had the telemarketer call. Hi, Mr. Johnson. How are you today? Well, I'm feeling terrible. That's great. They all have their diagrams that tell them if it's yes, go this way. If it's no, go that way. And they're not listening. And I think you need to listen. Realtors like to talk a lot. Lenders like to talk a lot. Good Lord. Have you heard Jonas? But you've got to listen. I think my mother always told me, if your mouth is open, your ears are shut. You got to listen to what's going on.
Jeff, how do you have a conversation with a person who isn't a past client? What do you talk about to get a meeting?
What do I talk to? Not a past client, so a brand new client. Brand new client, I can tell them the truth. I'm a little old school. Let's sit down. Let me buy a cup of coffee or something, or tea. I'll ask him, do you like coffee or tea? Are you a Starbucks or a non-Starbucks person? So where can I meet you in a public place? I don't make them come to my office. Hey, can we go have a cup of coffee? I don't even drink coffee. But can I buy you a cup of coffee so I can get to know you and your needs? And I act this way because I'm old school. I have been doing this a long time. Even if you haven't been doing it a long time, if you've been doing it for 3 weeks, you've been doing it a long time. 3 weeks is a long time in this business. I mean, I'm 17 years old. That was a joke, Jonas. So you just have to say, I like to meet face to face because I understand more about your needs that way. And this is about how I can service you in finding the home that you want to be in, or talk to you about the loan that you need, or talk to you about refinancing your loan, or get you pre-approved for a mortgage. Let's get together and see what's happening. Now, this could be somebody that is remote and they can't. We have this wonderful thing that came out of COVID called Zoom. Have a Zoom meeting, face to face. You need to be face to face. There's a high percentage of business capture when you are face to face with somebody versus a text or a phone call. Text or phone call are great as introductions, but once you get face to face, I think it's about 75% more chance of landing their business than just through a phone call or a text message.
Jeff, for somebody who's newer to town as a real estate agent, what idea would you give them to build up their database and where to find people to market to?
Learn the market, learn the area you're in, and pick an area. We used to call it farming. So if you're new to an area, you just move to Bismarck, North Dakota. For some reason, I'm stuck on those guys today. So you just moved to Bismarck, North Dakota. So get a map out, start driving around, learn the area, find an area that has, houses that are of interest that look like, don't shoot for the moon. Don't go into the homes that are $5 million and above. You want to write more contracts than that. But then start meeting title companies, meeting lenders, talking to everybody. Go to every community event that you can find. Go to, the local private schools fundraiser where they're throwing beanbags at things. Go to that. Wear your name tag. Wear your realtor pin. Wear whatever, so that people will see that you're a business person. But you need to learn the areas and then work with your partners in title to maybe flush out a farm there that you can start sending cards to. There's a lot of businesses online where you just send a database, Excel spreadsheet, and a design of a postcard or what you want on the postcard, and they'll send it for you. And then you'll get your name and your phone number into their homes. And you're not going to get a lot of business on the first time. It's going to take you 5 or 6 times. So before you get maybe your first phone call. So do that every few weeks, or once a month or something like that. Send something, recipe cards, baseball schedule, football schedule, whatever it is. But also become very involved in your community.
Buddy, I want to respect your time. Just a couple more questions. What is your favorite CRM software out there that you might recommend?
I use a couple of them right now. I've been a Buffini follower for a long time, so I use Referral Maker, referralmaker.com. I use it. I actually just use the CRM portion. I don't have the big add-on portion. I just use the CRM portion because I like the way it can track past business. And so I can look back and say, how did I do in March of 2021? And quickly pull it up and see who I dealt with. And it reminds me of all the anniversaries of all the closings. So I can immediately send a message. And it'll remind me of birthdays and all this kind of other jazz. And if I have nothing to do, which I seldom have nothing to do, I open it up and it says, make a phone call to Jim. Make a phone, and then it'll say, send an email to Carol. It'll just tell me to do things. So if I remember looking for something to do, I open up my Referral Maker. Now I'm also using another CRM called WiseAgent, wiseagent.com. That one is a little more robust than the Referral Maker. And it ties into a number of the lead generation programs that are out there. So whether you're using Boomtown, Ylopo, my gosh, a whole myriad of other lead generation programs, they will feed directly into WiseAgent. They don't feed into Buffini. So I use both.
Jeff, last question for today. What is it, or excuse me, we got two more. Let me go up one. Jeff, if it is a past client you didn't take good notes on, how do you broach getting that info from them and to get back in front of them?
You be honest. You don't say you took bad notes or you forgot. You say, hey, you know what? Something happened in my CRM. I don't have your spouse's name. What was it again? How did we spell it? Of course, if you ask for how it's spelled, then you're gonna feel real stupid when it's such an easy name like Mike. So I tend to mess with people that ask me how to spell my last name because it's like, okay, you don't know my last name then. And so I'll spell something really weird. But if you're missing information, just ask. Just ask. Didn't you have a dog? Well, yeah. What was the dog's name? Ruffy. Oh, that's right. Type it in, Ruffy, real quick. But if you just don't have all of that information, you can garner that information over time. So if your lender partner, and I know Jonas does this, Jonas and Mark do this a lot, they'll remind me when a client's birthday is. So I will make sure that I update my CRM with, it's Jim's birthday. So I type in that birthday. So I can send a message to Jim on his birthday. So you just garner it over time.
And Jeff, what's a tactful way to cut your call short if you need that so you can get the most out of the 2 hours?
So if you get somebody that's long-winded, basically.
Yes, sir.
You turn it on them a little bit. You say, I want to be respectful of your time. Even though they're the one talking, they're the one that's not respectful of your time. You turn it, hey, I want to be respectful of your time. I just wanted to touch base, see how things were going. How's the dog? How's the house? Do you need anything real estate related from me right now? Well, no, I don't. They'll change their tune. No, I don't. And then immediately jump right back in. Just want to let you know, I'm here when you need me. I'm going to send you an email follow-up, let you know that we talked. Just remind you of all my contact information. So it's at the top of your email box. And I'll be talking to you soon. But if you have anybody that's looking to buy or sell or get a loan or whatever, please send them my way. We're all in a rough time right now, and we're all trying to build business. So I'm here to help you. Great talking to you. I'll talk to you later. Done. But you have to turn that. You have to interrupt them and turn it.
Jeff, we want to say thank you very much. It is 1 o'clock. Guys, thank you very much for attending our monthly Lunch and Learn. We are going to be back the third Tuesday in October. We will have the announcement of our speaker soon. Jeff, we are honored to have you. Thank you so much for your time.